Hello guys, so another so-called special military operation has just begun in Iran and we don't see active involvement from the Russian side. The security guarantees aren't worth anything and Syria knows that, Venezuela knows that, Iran knows that now, but we are also in great trouble because after Putin triggered the collapse of the international law, we can clearly see that fewer and fewer countries observe the rules of war, they do not announce it properly, and honestly, we are all heading into a serious geopolitical chaos. Honestly, I will speak today from the perspective of an ordinary Ukrainian, focusing mainly on this domino effect among Russia's allies, which is good for us, but I do understand that there are a lot of negative consequences of such attack, beginning with something very minor like oil prices and finishing with the rules of war. We stand together with the people of Iran in Ukraine. We understand how evil was Ayatollah Khamenei's regime and they must be punished according to the rules of law. Because this international law is also super important for the survival of the planet. Let me know in the comments below what are your thoughts on this operation in Iran. What do you support, what you do not support, and how do you feel in general? My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia that is super necessary right now even more than ever, subscribe and share these videos to spread the truth. As an ordinary Ukrainian, I am sure that the Third World War began long ago. You may not like this idea, you expect something traditional like the First or the Second World War that you saw in the movies or read the books about, but this is the 21st century and the new war, global war, may look totally different with the involvement of technologies like drones and AI, with various hybrid operations in very different corners of the world. But if you switch off that natural denial that lives inside all normal human beings who want to live in peace and secure environment, you can clearly see that right now we have too many wars and conflicts on this planet, and all of them were inspired by unpunished evil. You know that I keep repeating this proverb that unpunished evil grows. This is true. When Putin violated international law 3 times or even more, and it did not give him anything, it did not bring him serious consequences. We are working on that as Ukrainians, but I'm talking about international organizations, countries that were believed to be leaders on the global arena. This brought more and more chaos. But first, let's focus on the problems that this war brings to Putin's regime. He loses one of his biggest allies, the provider of drones technologies, the provider of other weapons, and an extremely evil country that treated its own people very badly. And I believe that Iranian so-called leaders relied on the support from Moscow. They bought Moscow air defense systems. They received nuclear secrets from Moscow. I'm almost sure of that. And I believe they kept dialing the Kremlin these days and nobody picked up the phone. This happened not once this year, but a couple of times. With the fall of Maduro's regime, with the fall of Assad's regime, and soon Moscow will turn into a nursery for the former dictators, or should I say a retirement house, but the former president of Ukraine, Yanukovych, who actually was meant to organize this silent annexation of Ukraine, similar to Belarus, also escaped to Moscow, which is a proof that he was a totally Moscow-led puppet. And I believe that witnessing how many evil authoritarian leaders who are also war criminals escaped to Moscow, like Assad, like Yanukovych, like some Iranian leaders, I believe it's super important to condemn this and to try and, reach Moscow with the negative consequences. Right now, we observe a lot of Ukrainian intelligence operations there in the heart of the evil empire. And by the way, right now, Moscow is an active war zone, which we discuss in detail on Anna Danilchuk channel in the newest video that I advise you to watch. But this axis of evil is getting weaker with each day. And I believe this will also seriously harm Russia's influence among some countries of the strategic south, as they describe them, because many invested in Russia's air defense, in Russia's mercenaries, but now they clearly see that Russia cannot save regimes which relied on the Kremlin. Not because they don't want to, but because they don't have resources for that. They do not have resources to support their own regions. They have no money for the Russian contract soldiers. They have no money for the Russian air defense. 50% of their oil and gas industry destroyed. The budget is empty. So what are you expecting? And right now we witness this momentum when one by one countries that fully relied on the support of Putin collapse, and hopefully people will be liberated. But here we come to an extremely important moment of all this special military operation. If it turns into a prolonged and exhausting war, because this is also possible, this will lead to more and more problems and more dangers for people even in Iran, with growing oil prices, with the development of military technologies. Please do not forget about that. The fact that we do not stop wars, that we do not punish war criminals like Putin, leads to more and more technologies being developed. This is how the nuclear weapons appeared after the Second World War. The Second World War was the reason for that. And now with AI, we have so many dangerous possibilities. Good if it is in the hands of the countries like Ukraine, but if it's in the hands of the countries like Iran, and one of the reasons for that attack is the fact that they continue developing dangerous weapons. And if it continues for a very long period of time, this will also undermine the whole operation. And here I have to tell you that as a Ukrainian, I'm very tired of the so-called special military operations. I do not know why people avoid the normal terminology. They need to proclaim wars. They need to follow the procedures of the international law, so they do not equate to regimes like Putin. It's so easy to do. And every kind of operation that does not follow these rules simply makes the situation with this global international law with borders worse and worse. And trust me, you need it even if you live very far away from any conflict zones. It's just like police. You need them. You may not like some things about them. You may count how much money are spent on their salaries, but I'm sure you will all agree that we need them as people to protect us from robbers, murderers, to come to various conflict situations. And a similar police is needed on the international level, and now it does not exist at all. All the previous norms and rules were destroyed when Putin was allowed to attack Georgia, to attack Ukraine, and still remain the so-called world leader. And now we see that more and more people join his attitude, and they will keep asking questions why Russia is allowed and we cannot do it. That's why I'm super happy that we have our community of smart and polite people who do respect rules and laws. And hopefully this evil regime will fall quickly, and people of Iran will take full control of their country. And I believe that, of course, they are super worried in the Kremlin. They don't know what to do. But again, we are at that moment in history when the planet is in big danger. Just because people kept appeasing the evil, and then some chaotic and unpredictable leaders came and began doing some very unpredictable and chaotic things. Let me know what are your thoughts in comments below. Subscribe, share these videos to spread the truth. Also follow me on social media, Substack, X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all the links in the description, same as the link to the merch shop with lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channels, but most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!